Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello to you and welcome back to the channel where today you join me in the Tabernas Desert in the south of Spain. I'm out here with Mercedes-Benz to take a look at this, the new EQC. It's the first model to come under the new Mercedes EQ banner. They've been out here doing a lot of hot weather testing. Today we're going to take a first look around the car, then jump in to go for a co-drive to learn a little bit more about what this thing has in store. So let's get started and take a look around. Before we explore the car in full, or as much of it as we can see with its prototype camouflage, let me rewind and run over some of the backstory as to why this car is so significant for Mercedes-Benz. As I mentioned, it's the first model to launch under the new EQ product banner. So much like you have the GLC, which is the SUV version, the EQC is the full electric model based on the C-Class platform, so based on the C-Class sedan, let's say. So a very popular segment of the market to get started with. It was teased initially as the concept EQ at the Paris Motor Show about 2 years ago, and it's going to be launching in 2019, but today we can take a first look at it and go exploring and pick up some details and some of the experience of the drive elements as we're out and about in it very shortly. But roughly speaking, as you look around, you can see it's the sporty compact SUV. There are going to be models across the range. In fact, by 2022, Mercedes are going to launch 10 full electric models. 3 of those have already arrived from Smart. There will be 6 more to come after this is fully launched. So I think we can expect that to consist of smaller models, saloon cars, larger SUVs as well. But this is where they're getting started in a very hot segment of the market, the sporty SUV, and you can see that from the way the roofline swoops back. Now, of course, this particular car is wearing a lot of hard plastic to camouflage the design. We've seen the concept versions that have this swooping light design that comes and gets much wider through the centre and then swoops back up towards the other side, and no doubt there will be a lot of that in this when it is fully unveiled. If we come round the side of the car where we've got switch to EQ, their hashtag right there, and come towards the back, an interesting observation I've noticed is of course how the bumper sits so much lower than in a regular model, let's say, and that's because the battery technology is all down there in the base, keeping the centre of gravity and weight elements of the car down towards the bottom. But of course what we're looking at is a practical, sensible, family usable vehicle that is the introduction of electric technology to the Mercedes brand in full. We've had the B-Class electric drive, the SLS AMG electric drive even before now. But what we're looking at here is a car that has 2 electric motors, one for the front axle, one for the rear. They're 150 kilowatts each, so 300 kilowatts in terms of total. Power is going to be somewhere around 400 horsepower, but of course this is all not finalized. That's going to mean 0 to 100 in something like 5 seconds. So pretty quick and brisk, and obviously with a 4-wheel drive system thanks to the dual motors that it has set up there. And it's going to have a range somewhere around 500 kilometers on the old scale, but of course that side of the world is all changing very quickly right now. It's very, very, very kind of Mercedes to let us have a look up close with this car today though. But let's jump in with some experts who are going to be able to tell us a little bit more about what's going on and how it's working. I'm joined now by Peter, who is head of overall testing for the Mercedes EQC.
Hi, welcome in the south of Spain.
Thank you very much. And we're also joined by Wolfgang, who is spokesperson for Mercedes EQ.
Hey Tim, how's it going?
It's very good. So I know that you've been working on this for an awfully long time. This is the 3rd season of testing of the car, but it's also a very exciting time for the EQ brand. There have been a few models from the Smarts, but this is the first Mercedes EQ car.
It is. It also has voice control. Just turn on. Yes, it's the first Mercedes, and it's called EQC, and we're gonna present it this fall, I guess.
That's quite exciting. So EQC, of course, I've been saying there's a lot of similarities to the GLC. That's the starting point, the first of many future models to come. But the reasons, I presume, are to do with the success of the GLC to date. How's it going to be kind of built and that side of things?
Yeah, so we're going to build this car in Bremen and in Beijing.
Okay.
Those are the 2 plants where we're going to build this all-electric Mercedes. And it's part of a very successful business here. If you look at SUVs in the mid-size range,
yeah,
like the GLC, it's very popular all around the globe. And so that's why we chose the EQC to be our first all-electric model.
Right, and then, well, here we are in the prototype of the car. Hence, if anything peculiar happens, this is very much testing, and that's why you're out here in hot temperatures to see how well it works. How does this process work, Peter, from when you start with components to getting the car here to testing it?
Yeah, we have about 3 test phases with 3 summer and 3 winter testings, and now we are in the final validation phase for summer testing with this EQC.
And I mean, obviously riding in it, there's the sensation of almost silence, the electric elements, which is still unfamiliar, certainly to me, and I suppose it's still unfamiliar to the brand, given that it's so new, other than different testing experiments that have gone before. And I suppose a big connection is how does EQ connect to even projects like Project One?
Oh yeah, EQ is a product and a technology brand. Like on the one side you have the all electric products like the EQC. So it's the all battery, all electric, silent, local emission free, of course. And then on the other side you have technology components like the plug-in hybrid models, which are called EQ Power. And if you add plug-in hybrid with performance, we call it EQ Power Plus, and that's what you find in the Project One. This is where you use, where you plug in, store electric energy and use it for performance purposes, and that's what happens in the Project One.
And I mean, this car itself is using a lot of different technology that we've seen in other models as well. It takes, from my initial experience, and you have to remember that the whole interior is completely covered up and we can't really see or do very much, but it's going to bring in the premium elements, things we're used to. I can get a small sense of that, the technology side of things that we're kind of hearing and seeing going on, mixed in with the new technology of the powertrain.
Yeah, that's a goal. Like, we want to bring the best from the Mercedes world into the electric car. So it's an EV with Mercedes attributes. You have lots of technology. You see a big screen here. I can't describe how big it is, but you can see that. You've seen MBUX maybe in the A-Class and others. So it's going to have latest technology in there and an electric powertrain that is a lot of fun and very efficient.
I think the new technology of the powertrain is the most exciting thing of this new EQC car, because we have a really quiet driving behavior, and so it's a new experience to drive a Mercedes.
For sure. So how does it work with the dual motors in terms of different power, different experiences, different dynamics?
Yeah, we have a torque management of 2 engines. We have a front engine and a rear engine, and these engines are controlled, each engine for itself, and so we can achieve the maximum of dynamics in driving behavior.
Okay, and this is a question I have to ask. On the back of the steering wheel, there are shift paddles.
Yeah.
In an electric car, which does not have a gearbox per se. How does that work?
Yeah, the shift pedals switch the recuperation of the car.
Okay.
So if you know, electric vehicles get energy back when you drive down the hills.
Like the regeneration.
That we call regeneration. And with the switch pedals, you can choose the generation that you want.
Okay, so you can change between different modes of regeneration.
Yeah.
So automatically allowing the car to either free roll or to bring itself much more to a stop to build up the power in the batteries.
Yes, you can choose from free rolling to the so-called one-pedal drive.
Okay.
The maximum recuperation, then we call it one-pedal drive.
Okay, so that's quite an interesting concept. It is almost like having gears in a car, but
this is especially if you're used to downshift and to use your engine to kind of break down the car a bit, and that's the same feeling. Like we have an auto mode, which feels like a regular combustion engine. You have the same amount of recuperation, so when you drive it feels natural. But if you want to sail like we're doing right now, I guess, you just have no recuperation. You just sail a long way. And if you want to have this one-pedal driving feeling, you just pull your plus button up as much as you can, and then it's a one-pedal drive. As soon as you lift your foot, it brakes. Can we show that? Like, could you do the braking?
So if you see the T corner in front, so I go up with the recuperation now.
Okay, so
and now we have the plus, the minus. It's the maximum, so the car goes.
So that was the car pulling us completely down to the stop, pressing of the brake.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, as we're just cruising along now, we've been driving on some twistier roads, some straighter roads. Obviously, from the passenger seat, I can't experience too much from the dynamic side, but we'll be heading to another location shortly. But like this, it's very quiet, very comfortable.
Yeah.
I guess you're also, without the noise of a petrol engine masking other sounds.
Yeah.
Do you have to spend a lot of time listening if the tyres and the wheels are making strange noises, wind noise?
That's one of the most risky things in the development of an electric vehicle. You have no noise from the combustion engine, so you can hear everything in this car. And I think our target was to offer a real Mercedes standard in the so-called NVH behavior. We call it. It's noise, vibrations, harshness. So it's the acoustic in the interior, it's the rolling noise, it's the wind noise, and I think this car is really quiet if you drive with it.
So funny background fact, like Peter, he's in the team of the guys who develop E-Class, CLS, and GLC, and also the EQC. So they try to build a car that's as comfortable in its ride as the E-Class, but as sporty as the CLS. Okay, and that's going to be the EQC. So they bring this
in the
to the
C
table.
series. Yeah, that's quite a.
Yeah, but that's what they did. And if you're in here, if you close your eyes and think what car you could be in, would you think it's going to be? Would you guess it's a Mercedes? Would you guess it's an electric car? I think.
Well, you can tell obviously the quietness. It's almost the quietness that comes with us at the very top end of luxury. Having an engine completely cloaked. It's the minimum of sound. Whereas the Circuito, that sounds very exciting to me.
Yeah,
we'll experience it in a different environment now.
We do.
We're on the track, full acceleration with instant torque, 100% power. You definitely get that sensation. That's the thing with electric, right? That's the significant benefit, the instant torque elements. And now you have a racetrack in the middle of the back seat. Hold on tight.
Oh yeah, hold on.
With the dual motor setup, the way this is working, obviously, with the weight, the power distribution, traction, that side of things, what does the car have to? What does it have to do in this environment?
You can use the electric motors to manage kind of a torque vectoring. So because it's directly mounted to the axles, you have the chance to manage that better and quicker than you would do with ESP.
Yeah,
Still
okay.
have ESP, which kicks in if it's really tough. But a lot of the stuff beforehand can be done by the electric motors in a very efficient way because you recuperate every time you do that.
So you can get the maximum traction when you go out of the corner, for example, because the load on the wheels is very different in this situation. And if you give the torque exactly to the wheel where you can have the traction, then you have the maximum of the dynamic performance.
When the foot goes down, it gets moving. Full power, torque, 400 odd horsepower.
The torque is there when you go to the pedal. That's the fantastic thing on an electric vehicle.
And even if you have already quite a high speed, you still have immediate acceleration.
Yeah. So how are you managing in the back there?
I'm alright, I just hold on.
Hold on tight?
Yeah. Package is quite fun, range is alright, and the speed is
ample. Little squeals coming from the guy being thrown around in the back.
Still here.
Round a racetrack then in an electric vehicle. That's a slightly different experience, but let's take a last look around the EQC. Some more things that I've noticed while I've been spending some time looking at it. So for example, if we start right around the back, you can see behind this hard plastic of the camo, you've got the spoiler here, that roof line that swoops down towards the back like I mentioned. And what's quite fun about prototype vehicles, firstly, the design that you can see on this car with the blue and black swirls all over it, but then this hard plastic that's installed to disguise the different shapes. This is all going to be revealed at a slightly later date, but other things that we know from experience, for example, the badge there at the back will flip up to reveal the reversing camera, and as is traditional for a Mercedes, the number plate on the coupe cars is down towards the lower part of the bumper. The wheels, 255 section tyres, not necessarily the widest in the world for the 20-inch wheels, but large wheels that the car is wearing, very much that kind of electric efficient style with almost complete coverage of the exterior. You've got an aggressive side step sill there running the full length of the car as well. And then back around the front, all of these shapes around the grille are completely disguised, so we can't see what this is going to finally look like when it's fully unveiled at all. I can show you a quick glimpse at what we've been looking at on the interior of the car in not so much detail, because as you can see, it's completely covered up and hidden away. But you can imagine some new displays that we've got in here. Being a prototype vehicle, you've got the emergency cut-offs and a fire extinguisher. It's got the new, or the stylish Mercedes steering wheel with all the different controls and commands to go through your different displays and settings. But outside of that, we can't see too much for the moment, other than that this is a white painted car underneath the skin. Sunroof up on the top, but lots more still to come with it. And no doubt we'll have a full look in due course at what's going on underneath the skin. But this is the first EQ product from Mercedes. EQ, their electrical IQ, electrical intelligence as they're calling it, the future of the electric vehicles. So what do you think of this? Are you excited for this technology arriving in the future, for a world where you can use this for instant torque, for quiet, smooth riding experiences, but still incorporating the premium design elements that we're used to, the interior luxury that you expect from a Mercedes, and presumably a quite nice design that's lurking away underneath the skin of this as well? For now, it's the blue monster that we've been looking at, but I'm going to say farewell to the car. It's a big thanks to Peter and Wolfgang for joining me there for the little run-outs to experience a co-drive and get a small hint at what's coming in the future. Anyway, that's it for now with the Mercedes-Benz EQC prototype pre-drive. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I'll be sure to catch up with you again very, very soon. Cheers!